guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and today in this video I'll be showing you how to install the TST Industries Brake Light Modulator on your bike. Now, a brake light modulator, sometimes called a strobe, sometimes called a brake light flasher, what it does is basically enables you to install some electronics on your bike so that when you press your brakes, the brake light flashes in some kind of pattern and alerts the drivers behind you that you will be stopping. Our particular brake light modulator comes pre-wired to a plug that interfaces with a sub-harness that we provide specific to your bike model that enables plug-and-play functionality with your bike. So that means that the installation is really fast and you can do it yourself. Now, the electronics inside, we do have the ability for you to program this unit to 3 different functions and then subsequently adjust the rate of the effect to your liking. Our first programmable mode is strobe alert. This mode will produce 9 flashes and then stay solid for the duration of the brake engagement. Second one is intermittent pulsar. Each cycle will flash 10 times and then pause, and then these cycles will repeat for the duration of the brake engagement. The last available option is pulsar, and this one just basically provides continuous flashing for the duration of the brake engagement. Now we'll show you how to install this. It's really simple, and then after the installation chunk, I will show you in detail how to get inside here, how to program the different modes, and how to alter the rate of those different modes. We did think about the safety of such devices during the design phase, so we decided to design this in a way that it will be a pass-through component. In case you experience a failure on board here, it will just pass through your normal brake function, which means you press your brake light lights up, there's just no effect. In case you do experience that failure, we do offer a warranty, so we have guys standing by in our support department that will take your call, email, Facebook message, whatever, and we'll get you replaced. And that's pretty much it. Now, I'm really excited to show you guys just how easy this is to put on and configure. So let's get started. So here we have an 08 to 16 model Yamaha YZF R6. The installation will be very similar on the 06 to 07 model as well. Very, very similar connectors and placement of parts. This particular bike has an integrated taillight, which means it has the signals in the capsule of the taillight as well as the brake and running light function. Our brake light modulator functions properly with OEM and integrated taillights. The installation is made simple with our plug-and-play harness, and on this particular bike, Yamaha helped us out by keeping the main taillight connector really easily accessible right through the top here with just a removal of the passenger seat. Let's first identify the proper connector here. You see a 3-conductor connector. These wires actually do not match the OEM color scheme because this is an aftermarket taillight, but it's always one 3-conductor connector here. Once you identify that connector, let's go up the line here. You see 2 cable management straps that can be undone. This just simplifies the process for us because we have a little bit extra length in this wiring. It makes the manipulation a little bit easier. Now, when you rotate this connector, you will find the locking feature on it. There's a little tab here. If you press this tab down, it unlocks the connector, and then you could pull back on the aft section of this wire and it'll just pop right out. So let's unlock it now. So this is the tab I was talking about pressing down on. This unlocks this ramp feature and you can just pull it out. What I'll do now is pre-configure our harness and our brake light modulator so that insertion and final installation is easy. There's a 4-conductor connector here. Push it until it snaps. Let's get the taillight connector into its receiving connector. And now what I'll do is just replace our harness connector in the bike's harness connector that I just took the tail light out of. And this may be a little bit cumbersome because we have this free floating connector down there that we don't have a grasp on. I may need to resort to using pliers, but let's try it like this first. I may be lucky. And you want to push until you hear a click. All right, so we actually didn't get an audible click from this, but I do see the ramping feature of the lock has actually gone into its window and locked in place. So this is, you can tug on it a little bit. I don't recommend going crazy on pull force. If it doesn't come out, it is locked and you are good to go. Now you can potentially take off the driver's seat, this whole aft section of the top of the tail and this section to get more access in there if you can't get it to lock. That's pretty simple and it's actually shown in our integrated taillight video, but I was able to perform it this way. It's far more easier than removing all those components. So this is what we'll use as our instruction. Now it's just a matter of rerouting the wires in here so that we have cable management without stuff bulking up and being in the way of trunk space. I think what I want to do is get more of this wire down towards the bottom so that all my connectors are kind of on axis, and then I'll have the housing up here. So let's do that. I will use this cable management clip here on top to hold our cable bulk in. Let's see if I can fit all of that in there. So since we've placed our housing of the brake light modulator here, and we have frame components that accept the seat in there, we want to verify that we haven't caused an interference issue between any of the seat features and our housing. I'm gonna try to fit it here. All right, that looks good. We do not have interference. We could actually get our cable strap and get that cinched in place. So here what I'll do, I'll use these wires coming out of the tail light and the channel that is sized appropriately for our cable straps, and I will finalize my positioning and get this zipped in place. Now, as you can see, I've positioned this with the rubber grommet pointing down. This is for the purpose of any extraneous moisture and water that may come in here flowing down and off that. This is your last resort method of keeping water out of the circuitry. So pointing it down makes it a far better installation than pointing it up. I'm going to get the lower cable management strap engaged. And that's looking pretty good. I'm going to cut off the excess here. We do send these out with 2 cable straps. You can choose to use that to neaten up any of the other connectors here against something else. For me, this is okay. They are far out of reach there, and it's fine on this bike, so I'm going to leave it alone. This is totally up to you. Power up the bike. Let's make sure everything's working. All right, we have proper function. We're good to go. Let's grab the passenger seat, get it installed. All right, we're done. For mode selection and rate adjustment, we will need to get inside this capsule to access the electronics. These 2 Phillips head screws will need to be removed. What I like to do is unscrew them until they disengage from their receiving threads and leave them in the cap. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to lose them. If we pull them off with the cap, they are self-captive. All right, now we'll identify the parts here. This button is the mode selector, and this potentiometer is your rate adjuster. Clockwise is faster, counterclockwise is slower. Let's first do our selection of modes. With the brake pressed, press the button once to toggle to the next available program. Now the brake does have to be pressed so that the unit powers up, otherwise you won't be able to make the selection. If you find that you've pressed the button but the selection has not been changed, just do it again with the brake pressed. So now we will go on to the next program, press the brake once more, press the button once, and now you're in the next mode. Now we've switched twice, so pressing it one more time will return to the original mode that your unit arrived in. Now for rate adjustment, we'll be using the potentiometer. With the brake pressed, we can turn it clockwise to make it go faster, counterclockwise to decrease the rate. Now in brake alert, you will only have 9 flashes to make your adjustment, and then it'll stay solid. This one doesn't actually lend itself to really fast flashing at the top of the range. Bottom of the range is unusable, so I like to set it somewhere towards 3/4 to maybe 80% clockwise, and that does it for me. Now if we change to the next one, this one is the pulsar, and this one just keeps on flashing, so I like to have it going pretty fast here. Choice is really up to you. If you want to explore the next mode, we have the intermittent pulsar. This one to me belongs somewhere close to the top of the range, makes it the most visible. But again, freedom means choice. The decision is ultimately up to you. Once you're done with your adjustment and you're where you want to be with all your modes and rates, replace the cap, turn the screws back in, and it really is just that simple. Replace your brake light modulator in the space that you decided to keep it, and you're good to go.